How's it going, guys? So I wanted to make a quick video for you guys since I'm doing the process anyway. I might as well show you guys. So I'm doing a compression test on my engine, and I'm doing this as part of the diagnosis to figure out what happened. I put it in this gutted plenum in, and it wasn't running right. I also did the spark plugs, and I had the upper intake plenum off like that. I had the spark plugs out. So I was worried that something fell into the engine. So I already checked everything. I don't see any problems, but I'm going to do a compression test and make sure. You don't have to have your upper intake plenum off. For most applications, you don't have to take anything off the engine other than the spark plug. Now let me show you what you're going to need. Alright, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need to make a little chart. Test 1, 2, 3, and then the cylinders I did 1, 3, 5, and then 2, 4, 6, and 1, 3, 5, and then on the right side, driver's side, you have 2, 4, 6. So that's how I decided to write them down. I already started, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. The other things you're going to need a spark plug socket. You're going to need a pair of pliers like this. This will help you get the boot, the spark plug wire boot off very easily with the bend. You can also, they sell a tool specifically made for that, which is these. They're a pair of soft grips meant to not damage anything, but if you're very careful, those work way better in my opinion. You're gonna need your compression tester. Now you can rent this for free at any auto part stores for the most part. You just put down the deposit and you get it back once you return the tool. Now before you do anything, you want to make sure you disconnect your fuel pump fuse. Fuel pump, top right, 10 amp fuse. Pull that and your fuel pump shouldn't turn on. And before you take any of the spark plugs out, try and start the engine with the fuel pump disconnected, and that will get rid of all the excess fuel pressure. Alright, here we go. Let's start off with cylinder number 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these over, grip it lightly, wiggle it up, and it pops right out. Then you just set this aside. Get it out of the way. Once you get it a little loose, I'm going to take the ratchet off, take it off by hand. I'd say it's important to do one at a time to keep track of it. Make sure you don't mess any, switch any wires or drop anything inside the spark plug holes if you have them all out at the same time. So doing one at a time is the best way to go. There you go. Alright, here we go. We got our compression tester. We're just going to twist the hose in there until it screws in. There's the spark plug hole. I'm going to put this in. It's a little difficult to get this started with one hand, but let's see if we can do it. There we go. Now you want to face the face of the gauge. You can turn it, right? You want to turn it so it's facing the cabin, because you're going to go and push the starter in from there. You see the gauge right there? You can see it from under the hood. We're going to crank the engine until we see that gauge stop moving. There we go. Stop. Now if we come over here, we can take the reading, and it's at exactly a little bit over 180. So we're going to go over here and record that. So we're going to put 180 for test number 1. Now we're going to do it again. We're going to go ahead and release the pressure using this pressure relief valve. Back down to 0. Make sure it's visible from the cabin. And we have 180 again, same reading, so that's good. Now we're going to go ahead and do that for the remaining amount of cylinders. You want to do that for every single cylinder in your engine. Now another note, when you're putting the spark plug back in, make sure you start threading it by hand. You don't want to cross thread it if you start off with the wrench, so make sure you start it off by hand. Once it's snug, then you can give it a little bit of a snug up with the wrench. Notice I'm not holding the handle outside, I'm holding it, putting my palm right over the top and using just my thumb. And once it's a little hard to get over, that's tight enough. Especially with these spark plugs that they've already been on and off, the crush washer is already tight. Now we can put the boot back on. Should hear a little click. Let's take a look at the numbers. They all look pretty good. Test number 1 and 2. We're going to focus on number 2. We got 180 across the board, except cylinder number 4 we have 165, which isn't too bad, but it's a little off. They're all almost 180. Now I figured it could have been because the engine was, it's been sitting for a while, so this one didn't have as much oil as all of these because, I cranked in this order, so these had a little bit more time to lubricate possibly. But I rechecked it at the very end and it still read 165, so that's the oddball. Now my car wasn't running correctly, that's why I was doing this whole diagnosis. I went and checked for each one of the injectors to hear that they're firing with the screwdriver, and number 4 isn't sounding off the same as all the rest, isn't making a ticking noise, and I'm guessing that's where the problem is. If that cylinder isn't receiving gas, then it's possible that it's losing the lubrication from the gas, if that makes sense. Maybe there's something's going on there, right? Because that injector doesn't seem to be firing off, so that could be part of the problem. So I'm gonna look into that. But for the most part, we're all done. Don't forget to plug your fuel pump fuse back in and crank the engine over, and it should start up with a few cranks. You gotta get the fuel system repressurized, but you should be all good now. Make sure you look at those numbers. They should all be, within 10 psi of each other. If one's really far off, then you might have a serious problem. So yes, that's how you compression test your car. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.